now as we start. So what are we talking about? We're talking about project management, but before we start, like I said, if I ask questions, you can send your reply through the chat box, or you can as well raise your hands and then try to answer the questions that is asked. So the first question that I'm going to ask is, for this week, I'm not saying that you should tell me about the amount you have made or anything. What did you do that you can say brought good profits to you? Just looking at this past 5 days or 6, that's let me say 5 days that we have spent actively working. What was that thing that you did as a veterinarian that you can say, oh, this brought in good profits? You can, like I said, you can raise your hands and then you can send your answer to the chat. So what was that one thing that if you sit down, you think about how you spent your week, you can say, okay, this was what I did and it brought me relatively good amount of money. What was that one thing? So who is raising up hands? Somebody has to talk before we go ahead. So yeah, Dr. Idris, you can unmute and talk.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks a lot for all your efforts in making this class a reality.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One thing that I have done this week that fetched me much profit was cesarean section a cow. In fact, it was not payment. The owner was very impressed that he made a donation handsomely. In fact, that is not much more than a profit. So that is the one thing I can say.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. I want one more person to go, and then I will try to bring out the point that I'm trying to make. Okay, so one more person, please. You can drop your hand, Doctor. Okay, Deborah. Yeah, you're next. You're up.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm actually still a student.
Yeah, I figured it out.
And I can't say I've really gone or dived into anything like vet stuff, but what has come, let's say once in a blue moon that I've been involved in that related to vet is selling pets to pet owners.
Great.
And that, yes, but that's just once in a while. It's not something I get that regularly yet.
Thank you very much. You're sounding like a leader already. All right, thank you both. Well, one of those things I would like to say is that veterinarians have been familiar with being on the field to get good money. But with what we are talking about, we are in the office to get good money. Either it is grant writing or project management. Now, I want to say this, that project manager, actually you should learn both grant writing and project management. How do I mean? Grant writing is what you need, or what we call grantmanship, is what you need in order to win grants for the projects that you have to manage. And if you are not part of the grant writing, it will be very difficult for you to manage the project you don't know anything about. So that's the reason why we are connecting the two, that you are going to learn the act of writing grants and at the same time, how to manage when you have won the grant. And many people look at it as a big deal or big issue, but as I speak to you, at least I've been able to win not less than 4 grants. Yeah, actually 5. I'm currently working on 1 as we speak. Aside from those people that know that I also manage projects in plural at the African Center of Excellence for Genomics of Infectious Diseases, ACGID. So, and like I said, I also consult for Impacta. It's an African-based organization owned by somebody in Nigeria, but based in the United States. So I also consult for them when it comes to grant writing. So, and like I said, I'm a vet, but I picked all of those things while working, learning while I was working, trying to improve on my offering. So project management is actually application of process, method, skills, knowledge, and experience to achieve specific project objectives according to the project acceptance criteria with agreed parameters. Now, there are some things that you have to understand here. Project requires process, it requires methods, it requires skills. You need knowledge in that particular field. You need some experience too, because especially if you want to develop a budget, take for example, you want to develop a budget and you don't have experience, you can you can under budget. And the fact is that once you have been paid, you can't come back and say, sorry, there were some things that I omitted. It is your headache, my brother. It's your headache, my sister. You just can't come back and say this is what you omitted. It's none of my business anymore. Once I've paid you, you wrote proposal, you told me your budget, we negotiated the budget, you defended the budget, and I paid you, and now you are coming back to me. So it's none of my business anymore. So you need experience, and there are always selected or set objectives for a particular project. And aside from the fact that there are set objectives, we also know that it must be with acceptance project criteria and agreed parameters. So that is one of those things that you need to know when you talk about project writing. And like I said, I'm a project manager. Grant writing is just an offshoot of project management. It's like the beginning of project management. But all of these things are what we entails in project management. Number one is that there must be a final deliverables. When you talk about project management, there are finite time scales, which means there are time bounds. You can't run project forever. If you look at most of the project, they will tell you this project is for 1 year, this project is for 2 years, this project is for 5 years. So it can't run forever. It must have a time scale, and there must be budgets also attached to it. Those are some of the things that we need to learn while we are doing this. Project management involves planning of an organization or institution resources to move a specific task, event, or duty to completion. What are those things that you manage as a project manager? Number one, you manage personnel. If there is anything that is most difficult for you to manage, they are personnel. You can take that from me. I'm giving that free of charge. When I say management of personnel, this is the big issue, because you can easily manage every other thing around the project, but to manage personnel is the most challenging. And you have to learn how to manage personnel. It is what you have to learn. And yeah, it is one of those things that you have to take up while you are doing project management. You have to manage finance. So there are two budgets we usually draw when we are managing projects. The first project, we call it external budget. External budget in the sense that is what you are going to provide to the funders. That this is what you would need to conclude their work. And we have what we call internal budget. Internal budget is the actual amount you are going to spend on that project. And your internal budget must be lower than your external budget. When I say lower than your external budget, which means that while you are budgeting, for example, if you are going to travel through flights, and I think flight is about from Ibadan to Abuja now, if you want to have a return ticket, it's about 150,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 300,000. I'm not sure. It's been a while. We went through Ibadan. So let's assume it is 200,000, and you are not going to put exactly 200,000 in your budget. You can put something like 250, but it must not be bogus or irrational or reasonable. Don't worry, we'll talk about budget very well. But it shouldn't be bogus, because you will still be called to come and defend it. And sometimes they will they will go online to go and check the actual amount you need for flights. That is how much they can do at times. Now, okay, you say your flight is going to be 200,000, then they will go online. Is it really 200,000? So you have to be able to defend. You have to let them know that, okay, that's not only for flight. You still need to take what's it called, hire to take you to the airport. when you arrive from the airport, you still need to take another hire to take you from the airport to the hotel. So you have to defend all of those things. And they say, okay, all of those things have been brought together for the money that they are looking at. So you have to be smart. But by the time you are coming back, you will now look for the cheapest amount of flight you have to take so that you can reduce the amount of money you are going to spend on your. So you have to manage finance, technology, and then intellectual property. Intellectual property is important for every project, and you have to manage that. Okay, what are those things that are involved in project management? 5 important stages. Number 1 is ideation. This is where grant writing is important. Ideation is you sitting down, looking at problems, and developing solution to that problem. This is one of the reasons why many people are catching out on us as a vet. They are encroaching seriously into veterinary practice, and they are hiring us to come and be working under them because we are not doing what we're supposed to do. We see problem every day on the field, and we just let the problem go without necessarily sitting down that, okay, I can actually develop a solution to this problem, get a grant to solve that problem, and ask many people to come and work under me. Actually, this is what I do like for a living now. So when I go to the field, what I look for are the problems on the field. And when I see the problems on the field, I go back to reading. I go and read more on the problem. By the time I read more on the problem, I eventually, through reading and some meditations, you get inspiration on the solutions or possible solutions. Maybe it has been done somewhere else, but it has not been done in Nigeria. And then you feel, okay, if you can import this method in a cheaper way, it will work for the country. And then you propose it, you develop it, and you can let me know if you have such an idea. There are a lot of grants around that they are just looking for somebody that is going to develop a solution to solve and then win the grant to be able to execute it. So that is what we are supposed to do. So you sit down, read about the problem. And when I say read, you read and develop what we call concept notes. Concept note is like, this is the problem. These are the implications of this problem concerning a particular society or even the country at large. And then these are the things that I feel we can do to solve it. And then you can go beyond that and say, okay, somebody has even done similar things in so place and it worked. That's the part of concept note. And then you will now say, okay, within the space of this also time, you can execute this project. All of those ones are going to be in the concept. The concept is about 2 or 3 pages, and then you are done. So it's just for anybody that is reading to be able to say, oh, this seems to be something that can work. And then when you have done your work concept note, then they accept the concept note and say, okay, come and give us proposal. Now, proposal is bigger because proposal is going to talk about all the outcomes, the output, the location, the budget, the timeline, the name of those people that are going to work under you is bigger. But at least you start with the concept. So that is under the ideation. Then after the ideation, we go to planning. After the planning, you initiate. So you don't initiate a project without planning. Those are some of the mistakes that some people make. During your planning, that's when you're going to develop an internal. That's after you have won the grant anyway. So you develop an internal project. You train those people because it's a new project. It's a new concept. You know much about the project. So you have to train them. That's other planning. And then we go to initiation because sometimes it may require recruiting, partnership, and everything. You initiate it, and then you will make sure that you follow up on the execution. Then you monitor and evaluation, and then it can either close or be extended. Now, close is when you have been able to achieve the outcome or output you have set. But there are some times in which the outcome and output has not been achieved, but the project is going on fine. You can see the changes that the project is having, but will require more time in order to be able to see that output or outcome that you have set. So you can go back to the funder and say, oh, please, I will still need more funds in order for us to be able to achieve this. But you can't go back to the funders to ask them for more funds when they cannot even see any deliverables that you have done. So you need to eventually close or extend the project depending on what has been done. So project management is unique because of the following reasons. Number one, it is temporary. Like I said, that's 2 years, 6 months, 5 years. It is time bound. It has specific scope and resources. And it is very important. This is very important. It is different from your business operations. So many people are satisfied with business operations. And I'll give you an example. I'm trying to ensure that we don't buy so much time. You know, when I was still working with a company in Lagos, there was something that happened. I went for a conference in Uganda, an international conference. So I met some people there and I introduced our companies to them. So by the time I came back to Nigeria, those people loved what we're doing. And they now mentioned that, okay, let's see how we can help you. So my boss then just told me that, okay, since they love what we are doing, let's just go and advertise ourselves to them. I said, advertise yourself to them? No way. They are not going to fund your work. It's your business. How your business is going to grow is your headache. It's none of their concern. What they fund is an outshoot of your business that is impacting life. That is what they can fund. They can't fund your business operation because you call it a business. So they expect that you should be making profit. So why fund it? But if you now have something that is relevant to your business operation that can be done and impact life, and you will still need to spend more money in order to do that, you have been doing something that is evident in the first place and it is generating revenue. But now you want to go beyond that. You want to help people. You can even call it that it is your, what's it called now? SRC, community social responsibility. I forgot the corporate social responsibility. Yeah, I think that's the word. So you can call it CSR, that's what you want to do, and it's going to be extended to people, and then you've written proposal, you've seen the problem, and the problem is what you've been solving through your business operation, but now you want to extend it to some people that cannot afford it, and you just quote it and make it look reasonable, and then you tell them, and please, if you are just starting to write grants, don't go for grant of $70,000 or $50,000 or $20,000. Just ordinary $2,000 is fine. And I can tell you that even if it is $1,000, it is fine. Package it in a way that they will not see you as a beggar or somebody that is just trying to make an impact. So even if it's just $1,000, yes, I didn't start with that anyway, because I was working in a very big corporate organization. So I started with something of millions of US dollars, but that does not mean that if you own your own business, you cannot do anything. Then your business must be big before you do it. No, my business was not big. My personal business was not big. EMMSAR was not big before I started receiving grants. So it's not compulsory that it should be big. You can start with something like 1,000 US dollars, something like 500 US dollars. And if you are able to do that successfully, then you can ask for more and then they will give you more because you've been able to show them that it's not about the money, it's about the impact. So always make sure that it's about the impact, not about the money. In short, there are sometimes I will mention that I'm going to use the profit from my business to fund part of the whole projects. Yeah, so it is a win-win thing. I'm helping, they are getting data, and we're all fine. So it's different from your business operation. That is the point that I wanted to make. So that story I was telling you, my boss went to tell them about our business and they were not interested. So I had to come up with a concept. I presented the concept to them, and that was when they were interested and were ready to fund. So, and then we're able to win about 50,000 US dollars that they funded the concept that I developed. So it's just about doing something, an offshoot from your business and telling them how much it's going to impact life, and they will be interested. So this is about all that project manager does. Planning, development, monitoring, processing, strategy, analyzing. You can see it's enormous. Yeah, it's very enormous. And that's the reason why many people don't even want to go there in the first place. A project manager is seated, but is active. You are seated, but your mind is on what is happening on the field. Your mind is on what is happening with the accounts. Your mind is what is happening with the budgets. Your mind your mind is in different places simultaneously. And because nothing must fail. If anything fails, you are to be blamed. So these are all of the things, let me say some of the things that a project manager does. Okay, so this what I call the function of a project manager. As you can see there, what role do they play? Number one is development of concepts and grant proposal. I have mentioned this during my discussion. They will be the one to sit down. What is the problem? How can we solve the problem? And there are a lot of problems. I'm telling you this, there are a lot of problems around animal health. There are a lot of problems around animal production. There are a lot of problems around animal management. There are a lot of problems in Nigeria, and all of those things that we can develop good solution to. I'm talking about locally made solution. It's not compulsory you have to go and import any solution. Locally made solution, and you sell it, and anybody that listens to it will buy. I'm telling you that there are a lot of people that are looking for innovative ideas to fund. And if you have one, let me know. I will help you. I will match you up with a funding opportunity so that you can have your innovative idea funded. And like I said, it's not compulsory you start very big. Start from something moderate, minimal. There are people that want to even put the money down will not feel as if it doesn't work, then I've lost a lot. No. So something small and minimal, and then we can pick it up from there if that is successful. So concept, grant proposal, those are the things that project manager are expected to do. Okay, definition of goals and objectives of projects is also the work of the project manager. And that's why I said that project manager must start from even concept note. If you don't start from concept note, you are going to have a lot of problems, except you are very familiar with that project. Or you go back, sit down, or you go and have a discussion with the person that developed the concept. Say, for example, when I was hired to be a project manager at SG, I had a lot of problems because I was not the one that developed some of those concepts. So I had to either read all that was developed to understand what the project was all about and be able to fit in, see how to manage it, because it is your work to define goals and objectives of the project. It is your work to determine various project components. This is what is going to this, this is what is going to that, and all of those information. And then it is also your work to designate personnel. That's why I said project manager can sit down in one place, but they have a lot of things they are thinking about. Because you are going to meet with stubborn personnel, you are going to meet with weak personnel, you are going to meet with personnel that is having problem or challenge in their family, you are going to meet with so many personnel, and you have to ensure that you manage every one of them. Then you have to also be deliberating with the funder and sponsors. Yes, you have to do that. In order to convince and persuade them to be able to fund your project, you have to do that. You have to develop budget and financial management. You are the one to develop the budget, at the same time to manage the finance and ensure that money spent is in line with what has already been budgeted. There are sometimes it may shoot above, there are sometimes it will be below, but ensure that at least you don't shoot all the time, you don't shoot above the budget. And it's also the function of the project manager to design an evaluation and monitoring procedure. So you just don't say, okay, you have trained the people that are going to work, you have trained the finance, you have trained the field personnel, you have trained the laboratory personnel. If you are doing things that are related to laboratory, you have trained all of those people that are going to be involved in this project, and then you can go and sleep. Since you have trained them, they should just be sending in reports. No, you have to do what is called monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring is to know if they are even doing it at all. Evaluation is to know if they are doing it well. I think you understand that. Monitoring is to know if they are even doing what they are supposed to do. Are they on the field? Are they in the lab? Are they in the finance section? Are they doing their record keeping? Are they looking at the receipts? Are they providing money to those people that require money? That's doing it. But the next thing is evaluation. We have a goal. Are they moving towards that goal? Or they are doing it and feeding their personal interests? So you have to evaluate. It can be monthly, it can be weekly, depending on the length of the project. You can be doing it monthly, you can be doing it quarterly, you can be doing it biannually, and just to be sure that, okay, they are actually moving towards the goal that has been set for the project. So all of these are the works that the project manager will have to do in order to manage the project very well. I think that would be it for today. Oh, before I go, I forgot this. I'm going to send this this slide to you. This YouTube is about grant writing. You can pick one or two things from there. Unfortunately, they are not actually customized to Nigeria, and that's the reason why I had to do some of those customization here about grant writing. But you can still pick one or two things from that in order to learn about it. So it's time for question and answer. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands, you can drop it in the chat before we round up. And sorry, we have to also select somebody to represent the class. I don't know, Dr. Abidemi. I don't know if you will be willing to do that so that I can send you the slide and then you can share it with every other person in this group. Dr. Abidemi, are you there?
Hello, sir.
Oh, will you be willing to represent the class so that you can coordinate things around assignment, tasks, and everything?
Okay, sir. Okay, no problem.
Right. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's time for questions. If you have any question, you can raise your hands and then you'll be given an opportunity to ask your questions. You can also drop the questions on the chat if you have any questions so that we can attend to your questions.